Hi, this is your Chief Science Officer, Brazos Minshew. Welcome to Wellness Talk. Today we're going to be visiting with a very special guest, Sharon Gwozdek from the Allergy and Environmental Treatment Center right here in Scottsdale, Arizona. Welcome, Sharon.
Thank you, Brazos.
Today we're going to be talking about something really that's affecting more and more of us all the time, and that's allergies. And so I want to get right to the very first question. Sharon, are more people having allergies, or does it just seem like more?
They are, and one of the reasons is our exposure to chemicals, both indoor and outdoor.
What do you think's worse?
That's a good question. And most often it's indoor because of the new products we have in our homes, plastics, pesticide sprays.
Wow. Tough stuff, huh?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Toxins, poisons, right?
And more poisons.
And more poisons, okay. And so there are some people that it seems don't have a problem with allergies where others are really disabled with allergies.
And that's correct.
What's the difference between the two?
A huge factor is genetics. Also our total load, nutritional deficiencies. And also the location where we live. The more pollutants we're exposed to, the tougher it becomes for us to battle some of these outdoor inhalants, some of the indoor. So it becomes a challenging thing for our immune systems.
Would you say Antarctica then was the proper place to...
High and dry.
High and dry, okay. Yeah, then it's back to Flagstaff.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, very good. What do you think about the impact of stress on allergies?
Absolutely. Both emotional, physical stress has a large impact on the effect of allergies.
Yeah, yeah. So just to recap, we have trauma, toxins, deficiencies, and stress that are typical causes of all forms of imbalance, and you'd say all four of them have an impact on...
Absolutely.
Are there any particular deficiencies that you can think of that would actually make a person more allergic, and therefore, if we satisfy those deficiencies, perhaps could make us less allergic?
Your trace minerals, molybdenum, selenium, manganese. Also, glutathione is very important in terms of metabolizing chemicals.
Wow. So if I could stop for a moment on glutathione. Glutathione is an inducible antioxidant actually inside the cell. Now, there are some ways to take it. When I was in practice, the only way you could take it was IV drip.
Correct.
Has that improved any?
There's some controversy as far as even oral helping, but IV is the most effective.
Yes. But there's a way of inducing the amount of glutathione that's in the cell, and that's through antioxidants. A special antioxidant that induces glutathione is vitamin C. And vitamin C also helps break down histamines.
Absolutely.
Right? So,
correct.
Very frequently when someone in formerly when I was in practice back in Dallas, and Sharon was also in practice back in Dallas, so we know about those Texas allergies.
Yes.
But one of the things we would do is give Dr. Libby's vitamin C flush, because that high amount of vitamin C would not only break down the histamines that were actually creating the misery, but also induce high amounts of glutathione. Yeah. So you mentioned a couple of other minerals there?
Yes, your trace minerals, molybdenum, selenium, manganese.
Okay, so now I'm going to throw you a little bit of a curve. What do you think about a deficiency of sleep and its impact on allergies?
Oh, my goodness. You touched on a very important factor. Sleep, very big in terms of our recovery and the immune system able to recover and handle all the factors that affect it.
Yeah, yeah. So deficiencies don't always have to just be nutrient deficiencies, but can also be because of things like a deficiency in sleep.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And sleep also helps us to recover from stress, but so does exercise.
Yes.
Now, do you notice any direct effect between exercise and allergies?
Not really. What I do notice is exercise helps the immune system. However, during that period of time, it is a stress, the physical stress itself.
Sure. Sure. I wrote a weekly wellness report that's available in our wellness center that talks about how stress is an actual trauma, how exercise is an actual trauma, an actual form of stress.
Yes.
Right? So we have to be very moderate about our exercise habits as well. It's one of the reasons why we always recommend long, slow exercises, right, rather than the fast, intense exercises.
Right.
Of course, with me being a triathlete, it makes it hard for me
That's
to practice what I
yes.
preach. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you notice that people after that kind of exertion have more problems with upper respiratory allergies?
If they're outside, that could be a problem. Once again, it's based on the person's immune system and how they're able to handle that total load.
Yeah. Total load, well, would you describe that? It's also called an allostatic load, if I'm not
Well,
mistaken?
it's all the factors that affect the immune system, so it's like a barrel effect, where our exposures to inhalants, to chemicals, nutritional deficiencies, stress, you mentioned sleep, all these factors affect how we deal with our allergies. A lot of people, their total load may be low. Others may be high, and that's where we run into some problems.
The higher the load, the more sensitive they're going to be.
Correct, yes.
And why is it that it seems like more children are having these allergens?
Brazos, that's a great question. I truly believe it is because of how we eat, the chemicals in our foods. Mm-hmm. If you notice, children right now, when they're in school, they have more exposures to chemicals. We have carpet in the classrooms. We don't have the open windows at times, which can help relieve some of the exposure to chemicals.
Right, the off-gassing
yes,
from the carpets.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it's the same thing in the home as well, right?
Yes.
I remember listening to Dr. Ray once talk about how among the worst things we could do to our babies is teaching them to crawl on carpet.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes, that's correct.
And he was relating that to actually later on developmental disorders like attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder. Just that simple thing. So toxins all around us, eh?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm mistaken here, but there's a process inside the human system where a vitamin B12 becomes useful for as an anti-allergy. Have you heard that yet?
That's not. I don't have that experience. But is vitamin B12 important for that? Yes.
Yes. There was actually a study that's done in Dallas that has been published. The first 2 years have been published of a 5-year study. And unfortunately not in a peer-reviewed journal, but in Men's Health Journal. And it talks about using vitamin B12 as an antihistamine being more effective than using some of the prescription antihistamines. And I think we all know what those are without mentioning
them.
But how the the higher the level of vitamin B12, the more allergic, the lower the level of B12, the more allergic a person becomes. The higher level of B12, the more resistant to allergies they become. Yeah. And then finally, there's a nutrient called quercetin, right?
Oh, I love quercetin.
Okay,
very good. It's a great natural anti-inflammatory, which helps tremendously when people are trying to overcome their allergies. It's wonderful.
Tremendous. Do you know how quercetin actually facilitates how it actually works on allergies?
The particular biochemistry, I'm not familiar.
Yeah, it kind of, if I remember right, it kind of toughens things up so that you become just much more resistant, much more bulletproof. I remember the illustration was like the difference between a balloon and a rubber kickball. How a balloon is so easily popped by a single pin, but you're just not going to do that with one of the big red rubber balls, right?
Yes.
So that quercetin actually turned the cell from the balloon analogy with the needle being the allergen into something a lot tougher, so it just simply couldn't be popped quite as easily. So that's quercetin, right?
Yes. Yes.
Love quercetin.
Yes, absolutely.
Powerful anti-inflammatory, powerful anti-allergy. Does it have any effect on the immune system?
It, once again, decreases inflammation, so it does help support the immune system.
Sure, anything you can do to reduce inflammation. Many of our listeners already know about a particular form of quercetin called a betalain, and a betalain bioflavonoid is found in the prickly pear cactus and in a very few other foods, and in the human diet. It's called an orphan bioflavonoid because it exists in so very few things. But the betalains exist in the nopal cactus, and of course that becomes the basis for our quercetin-rich product called Nopalea, another excellent anti-inflammatory that can help a lot with allergies and with allergens. So in the end, if you were to pick out the top 3 suggestions you'd have for people who are suffering from allergies, from asthma, from rhinitis, from skin disorders, what would the top 3 recommendations you could be? Just in general now, remembering we're talking to a very large audience. So in general, what would be your top 3 recommendations?
Watch your chemical exposures. Number 2, hydrate. The hydration is so important. 3, be careful in terms of your foods. If we can rotate our foods a little bit more, that creates less stress on the immune system.
Exactly. Very good, very good. And it's so amazing that every time that we discuss health and wellness, we always come back to the 10 essentials of wellness, right? Deep breathing, hydration, sleep, our diet, and now we're talking about rotation diet, making sure that we have exercise that really meets the needs of our immune system, and of course the emotional and spiritual factors that help us deal with stress and really place stress within the appropriate context. So hopefully after that we won't have so many things in our barrel, right?
Absolutely.
Very good. Well, it's awesome to have you here.
Thank
Hopefully
you.
we'll get a chance to have you come back and talk a little bit more. Especially I'm interested in what we can do inside of our house to help with indoor allergies. So maybe we'll get a chance to talk about that again, eh?
Absolutely,
Thanks,
Brazos.
Sharon.
Thank you.
We'll see you now.
Okay.
So remember, health only comes from healthy habits practiced every day. Let's make sure and practice the 10 essentials for wellness and have a great day.